if this bitch has a house like that, like, why can't I have a house like that? And then like the Kardashians come out and I'm like, they literally made money out of nothing. Literally, you can be anything and anyone that you want to, and you can reinvent your life at any moment.
Welcome to Cabo.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you like it so far?
It's amazing.
Good. I'm glad.
It's hard to leave the pool for this.
I bet. Girl, do you still want me to come? Because I could also not come.
I'm like, you're tired, right?
Well, I'm so glad you're here. You know, this is going to be a different conversation because you're outside of mortgage. But I think the amount of value that you bring into my life and in so many other people's lives, I'm so grateful that you could come and share with us today. So before we get started, let's go ahead and share with people a little bit about yourself and then what you do for a living.
Yeah, I'm Barbara, founder of Your Tax Coach and a real estate investor and a mom and a wife. And we love to travel and very nomadic. And we help people save money in taxes.
Mm-hmm. And so how we know each other is which is very random because
so funny. We're not supposed to know
We're not
each other.
supposed to know each other, but we are, right? So I'm planning the fall event, and I could have sworn somebody told me about you. And I was like, okay, yeah, I friend request, whatever. And so I hire you, and I thought you were going to come out and talk financial planning, and then you talk tax stuff. And I was like, hold on a second. You don't know so-and-so who I thought had recommended you? And you're like, no. And I'm like, this is wild. And it was like all divine order that you were supposed to be on that lineup. You were supposed to come and share tax stuff. In fact, the women, when I asked them for this round, I was like, who do you guys want to see on the stage? Many of them were like, can you please bring Barbara back? And I was like, oh, 100,000%. Like, she's a shoo-in. Because everybody loved the value that you brought. There's not a lot of people that talk tax strategy. And if you guys don't know, there's a big difference between a CPA and somebody who like does your taxes, and then somebody who's actively strategizing with you to make sure that you're keeping the money that you earn.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell people exactly what that means beyond my probably very butchered description.
Not butchered at all.
Okay.
Very accurate. So typically your accountant is like retroactive. Mm-hmm. The year's already over. You just give them your numbers. They put it on a tax return and they're like, you owe this amount. And you're like, dang, that sucks.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, dang, maybe I'll be better next year. And then it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
But a tax strategist is proactive, and we're working with you throughout the year. So in 2025, we're working to lower your 2025 taxes and help you keep more money in your pocket.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why I reached, that's why I was like, oh yeah, MBC we need to work together, because I had gotten my like taxes done. And at the end of the year, I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
And my accountant was like, well, you made more money. And I was like, well, yeah, no shit. And like, you know that, like the fact I didn't get a call, like, you know, third and fourth quarter, that was like, you might need to do something different, or this is going to be your tax liability. I was like, what? So then I was like, and I think a lot of people kind of struggle with like, how do I make this kind of income, but I still feel broke? Like, what am I doing wrong that apparently other people have figured out? And I think tax strategy and investments and stuff like that is like so needed. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell people a little bit, and you can tell as much as your story as you want to, but your story is really powerful. So why don't you tell people about you?
My parents are drug addicts. Mm-hmm. And so growing up was always just like so tumultuous. I was born in Compton. I know I don't look like the typical Compton girl, but I was born in the hood. And so just went through like just a lot of physical abuse, mental abuse. Like, I don't know, I could go on and on. And
it's also probably why you have an incredible playlist, by the way.
Thanks.
I mean, being born in the hood and the 90s hip hop just go together, and it's so much our brand over here too. But let's talk about like how, you know, that formatted, and sometimes we look at like those past hurts and our, tribulations and everything we go through, and like there is some sort of higher calling and price to it. It's like really bringing beauty to the pain that we have to go through. And like you get that decision though, right? Like you can suffer through all of that in vain and never do anything with it, but you were able to take a lot of these experiences growing up and then to really carve out a beautiful life for yourself. So it was like your like big motivation in life to like do what you've done.
Yeah, I think my dad used money a lot to control my mom and us too. But like they met when my mom was 18. I think my dad was 21. And so she like literally never learned how to like balance a checkbook or pay the bills. Like she wouldn't know how to like pay a utility bill or who to pay rent to. And so I saw that from like an early age. Like I remember driving with my mom to Taco Bell because she worked at Taco Bell to pick up her physical paycheck. And it was like $300 for the week. And she like signed the back and I was like, Mommy, why are you signing the back? And she's like, because I have to give it to your dad to cash. And then I'm like, well, why does Daddy get it? And she's like, well, Dad gives me $20 a week and I give him my paycheck. And I remember at 12 being like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you get it?
Yeah.
Like you're working for it. You're making the beans at Taco Bell for like 40 hours a week. Like you should get that. And so I think if you like peeled back all the layers of like why I'm so passionate about saving, specifically women in business, a lot of money in taxes, it's like, it has nothing to do with tax. It has nothing to do with like the savings. It's more of just like the more money you have and the more money you can save, if I can help you get out of a shitty situation.
The more options you have available to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if I can give someone $10,000 in their savings account, my mom would always say like, oh, once we save enough money, I'll leave your dad. Of course, that never happened and they're still together today.
Yeah.
So money is like so much more than just.
So let me ask you, this just hit me right now when you were talking about this. Like, there's like this generational shift. Like, my kid, it's probably way too much information. My kids have I don't even know where the public utility is, where I pay my bill. Everything's online. As a kid, I could tell you where that water department is and where the electrical department, like where you could go down because you would, the only reason you go down to pay your bill back then is because it's going to be shut off, right? And you've gotten your whatever notice, right? And like
the red notice.
Yeah. And it was like, well, we may not have electricity tomorrow, hot water or whatever that is, and like, thinking like my kids, I don't even know. And I'm so grateful that they don't have that experience. And I'm sure the quality of life that Hunter has is like, you're like, wow, this is great for you. Share with people like your top real estate investment strategies. Like, what do you love about sharing? Because I know you have tons of courses and you just relaunched right off your real estate. So give me like top 10 or top 5 or top 3.
I just love when people invest in real estate in general to help them save money in taxes, but it just depends on like if you're a W-2 earner or your spouse is, or are you a business owner? Are you 1099? But if there's a way that you can buy real estate and then depreciate the heck out of it and have that offset your income to then save you a ton of money in taxes.
Like how much, because sometimes we say this in general terms, but let's really talk about what that net effect, you buy a house, let's say you might cost tag it, we're going to take that rapid depreciation. What like line item net effect is it on your tax return?
Yeah, it depends on the cost of the property, but let's use like a $200,000 condo that someone buys. So you probably put down a $50,000 down payment on an investment property because that's 25% for an investment loan. And you will get anywhere from $40,000 to $75,000 as a deduction on your tax return from buying that investment property. So if you think 40 to 75, let's average it, 50,000, which is your down payment. So essentially you just wrote off your down payment when normally down payments are not deductible. And so that $50,000 deduction can offset your business income, your W-2 income, whatever income you might have in the family. And if you're in, let's say, the 40% tax bracket, that just saved you $20,000 in taxes. And if you're W-2 and you pay your taxes all year, then that's a $20,000 refund on your tax return.
Money in your pocket.
Money in your pocket. And then you just take that, if you're smart enough to take that money that you just got back, do it again.
I roll into more real estate. I know you guys have, you and your husband have created an incredible portfolio of your own personal properties, investment properties, syndications, all sorts of things like that. What's your favorite way to invest your money?
Honestly, I like owning my own properties. Syndications are really great for those that have no time to like find a property. They have no trust in themselves to like analyze the deal.
Yeah.
But that's also where you can get really screwed over.
Yeah.
Because you're literally handing a check to someone.
And you hope they do well with it.
You hope that they're buying what they actually say they're going to buy with it, that the contracts that they're doing with the person they're purchasing it from are accurate, that they're using the right attorneys. All this stuff, you have to trust them so much. And typically when you're giving money to a syndicator, it's like because you saw them speak on stage somewhere or they're like a sponsor at an event. And it's like, you don't know them from Adam and you're just going to give them $100,000. Like we've had probably $700,000 just completely be lost from syndications. So honestly, trust yourself more than anyone else. And there's so many tools out there now that you can figure out how to analyze a deal or like use someone like you can so easily be like, okay, it's going to cash flow this. This is the rent. This is your payment. This is your property taxes. And then you have a much better idea.
Yeah. And now with like AI and stuff like that, you have a lot more resources than were available even 5 years ago. I mean, you kind of have like a rags to riches story. I mean, let's be honest, right? So what do you think created that you didn't end up repeating that same cycle? Like what was that shift?
I honestly remember from just a small, like a young age being like, life doesn't have to be this way. You know, like I literally saw my dad dealing drugs. I saw people like would break into our house with guns and I'm like, I don't think everyone's houses are like this, you know? And I remember watching Matilda, the movie Matilda.
Okay.
And like, that was my life where her parents are like fucking crazy. She just like goes to school and is like the smarty pants little kid, like loves her teacher, Miss Honey. And Miss Honey like takes her in and like shows her how real life can be. And I had that too, like in kindergarten, Miss Adams. She was actually at my high school graduation too. And so I just remember always being like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, why is it so hard? Why are my parents fighting all the time? Like, why are they doing these drugs? Like I knew at 5, like what crack cocaine was. Like you shouldn't know that when you're 5. So yeah, I just remember that. And then I like grew up in the reality TV show era.
Okay.
So like MTV Cribs, I know this sounds crazy, but like I would watch like MTV Cribs and be like, if this bitch has a house like that, like why can't I have a house like that? Or like this rapper has a sweet mansion, like why can't I? Yeah. And then like the Kardashians come out and I'm like, they literally made money out of nothing. They were nothing. They got a reality TV show. What is stopping anyone from like money is not real.
Yeah.
And
so
like
I just remember the guy that invented the pool noodle, like millions of dollars off of a pool noodle. Like, okay.
So I just always remember being like, I can do that too.
Yeah.
And I know not everyone has like that confidence, but literally you can be anything and anyone that you want to, and you can reinvent your life at any moment.
Yeah, I love that. Let's give people that are some active like stuff that they can do. So you're 1099, maybe you're a loan originator like I am, maybe you've incorporated. Number one, I know you say open like either an S corp, right? We're doing S corps, no LLCs.
Well, so you have to have an LLC first.
Okay.
In order to be an S corp. Except California, you can be an S corp first.
I was like, I don't think I have that.
California is an exception. So if anyone's listening outside of California, you probably need an LLC first or a C corp. And then you elect to be an S corp on your tax return.
For tax purposes. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're 1099, like more than $40,000 a year, which I hope everyone listening is, then you want to be an S corporation because you can save so much in taxes.
Okay. Like how much?
So on $40,000, you're going to save $6,000 in tax.
Just right off the bat.
Yeah. It's just literally another tax they add on because you're self-employed and you're putting it on your personal tax return. Okay. Instead of an S corp return. So on $100,000, you're saving $15,000.
Okay. What other things should I be looking if I can now you get write-offs, right? Which I love.
Yeah. So especially for mortgage people, like if you're W-2, try to switch to 1099 if your company will let you.
Yeah.
Or if they let you run like an expense report.
Like a P&L. Uh-huh.
Yep. Then if they have marketing budgets, create yourself a marketing company and pay yourself for the marketing, because you are marketing, like you're running social media, you probably have a newsletter, you're going to events and conferences. So have that company pay you a marketing expense. Now you have business income, and we can offset that income and make it 0 or negative for the year. So that way your W-2 is lower.
Less taxes over
less
there.
taxes.
Yeah.
And then we'll zero out your 1099 income.
I love that. That was part of like when we were creating this Cabo trip. You know, a lot of the women were like, let's travel. And I was like, I love you guys. Like, we can travel, but we're not just going to travel. Like,
it's a business expense.
We got to figure out a way to wrap this in a business and make this a business trip.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is, but we're going to write that shit off. We're going to make more money doing it. And then hence here why we're filming podcast and YouTube show, which is big time, like inspired by you and everything you've created.
Aww.
So thank you. Let's see. What else do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Mastermind? You want to talk about Minted Wealth Live? You want to talk about...
Yeah, just the power of being in rooms, because even like here at your retreat, like seeing some of the women have these big breakthroughs and just realize like they're not letting go of things, or they're overworked, or they're working too much and they're never giving themselves a break. And you've probably heard even more conversations, but like being in rooms like these, whether it's a mastermind, a retreat, an event, a conference, it's good to just like get away and get in front of people that are doing better than you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think part of that is like that doesn't happen by accident. You do that by choice. You have to put yourself in the room. Nobody's going to put you in the room.
Yeah.
You put yourself in the room. Let's talk about also branding, because your branding's fire.
Thank you.
Like I'm like screenshot. Let's do this. Screenshot. Like it is always top notch. What are your biggest branding lessons?
It's the first thing I did before I even started a business, just because I knew that as a consumer, things for me have to look pretty. And that might not be for everyone, but before I like buy something, if it has to catch my eye. So that was like step number 1. I hired someone of like, how do I want my colors to make people feel? And how do I want the words I use to make people feel? And it should be all about a feeling that people have before they even really know who you are. And so just take an afternoon and write down exactly like the colors you love, but then look up the meanings of them. And does that align with your brand? The words you use and want to say, like there are certain phrases I say all the time. So I want that in my branding. So then it always sounds like me.
Yep.
Just like yours with like rap music, you know, and like having lyrics to those songs. It's like, oh, I think of Paige when I see those, because it's in all of your branding. So not just words and colors, but phrases and the vibe of, okay, you're going into a photo shoot. What are the photos going to be used for? What do you want the vibe to be? Do you want them to be bright and airy, or do you want them to be moody and sexy? And then knowing what they're going to be used for ahead of time too. Like you kind of have to plan out your year ahead. Like I try to just do one big photo shoot a year, because it's like so much work, you know, it's so much freaking work trying to plan the outfits and the jewelry and the props and the hair and the makeup and the shot list and all the things. So it just takes a little bit of planning and consistency, and then people will know you once they see your stuff consistently. Yeah.
That's like when you put yours out, I'm like, even before I can even recognize you're on it, I know it's you. And I'm sure you get this a lot. It's like, I don't even know what you're selling. Like, you do taxes. Like, like, oh, okay, she does taxes, but what is this? I love it. And like getting people to like know, like trust you and like identify, and like getting that like, oh yeah, me too. Either it's me too, or I want to be that. And so, yeah, you do brilliant online. Let's talk about healing journey. So everybody, I go to Barbara, I'm in her mastermind, the council, and we do our retreat. I'm like, and you guys know, like, I'm super woo, and I like will go off the deep end into like, I'm just like super open and trying a bunch of different things to like do my own personal healing. But in this mastermind, we have people that are like not like that, and so she brought in breathwork, and then also spinal energetics. But even for me, doing very woo crazy stuff, I was like, what is this? So talk about your own healing journey and how that has created success in your life.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know a little bit of my story from listening to the episode, but it's like, I can't just go from that to like my life now and not have done any healing and just suppressed it all. So, you know, it started with like a lot of talk therapy, and then it's like, this shit's not really working that well.
Yeah, you're going to stay in your bullshit forever.
Yeah, it's like this cycle. I don't love it. And so then it was like, what else can I do? So then I started like hypnotherapy, and I really liked that because it was like visualization. And then it turned to plant medicine because I'm like, okay, if visualization works, what would happen if I can just see a lot more things?
Yeah.
And so ayahuasca definitely helped a lot. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm like fighting myself right now because I like have the opportunity to do it again in July. And I'm like, oh, do I want to? I know I need to, but I don't want to. And I know it's going to be really hard. So maybe I will do that again in July. But then using things like combo, which is another plant medicine, and psilocybin as well. So I really like plant medicines, but then also just learning like your own body. So you don't actually need plant medicines to like see these things. And so I'm trying to need to use them less in order to heal, but still like a long process. And of course, like a ton of breath work. And I have a wellness room in my house because I get very overstimulated very easily. So I need to like chill the F out. So I have my cold plunge. I have a red light sauna or infrared sauna. I have my red light. I have a vibration plate. we're getting a biocharger. An acupressure mat. So just like literally anything and everything. I've tried it, done it.
Yeah.
I need it all and love it all.
Yeah. For me, I know plant medicine has been great for being able to like clear that energy, like because it forces you to. It's like you have no choice. You just gonna go through this one today. I know a couple weeks ago I went to go work with the shamans that I work with, and it was very physically demanding. It was the very first time I think it was as physically demanding, more on an Aya trip, more close to that than like a San Pedro trip. And I remember being like, Paige, like, what are you not recognizing in your life that like I'm obviously spiritually bypassing something like on the regular that now I have to sit with this uncomfortable. It was like heavy pressure in my ribs. And then it was like, I got to like this, like, oh, it's like I'm holding on to grief and then having to process it. But I had no choice. And so the plant medicine is like, no, you're dealing with this today, right? So, which is different than when you're doing it by yourself. Just without the plant medicine, it's like our brain can choose if we want to or we don't want to process it. And I know for myself, like just going on that own healing journey through different modalities, it helps me not to be triggered and not to get in my own way. Where previous to this, like things would happen and I would sit like for 2 days at my dining room table, just like crying my eyes out, just can't get out of my own headspace, you know? And so that's been a beautiful experience. But yeah, the spinal energetics was like something I was like, what?
Yeah,
what is this stuff?
That happened random. Like one of my healers who I love one day like called me. He's like, hey, I'm in LA and I'm teaching this training. Can you just show up at noon? And he like doesn't tell me anything about it. And I was like, okay, it takes me like an hour to get there. I'll try to be on time. And so I get there and there's this like beautiful Australian lady and I can hardly understand her, but she's like trying to tell us what's happening today. And it was like this group of 20 of us that were all going to do spinal energetics. And I'm like, what is this weird thing? And then it started happening and they were demonstrating it. And I was like, oh, I've seen this on the Goop. And
Same.
Yeah. And it looked crazy and like an exorcism. And I thought they were faking it.
Same.
So I'm like, surely this shit's not real.
100%.
So they're like, who wants to go first? And I was like, yeah. Because I'm going to show all of you like this is not real. And literally, as the second the music started, first of all, it sounded like she was in my head. She's like starts singing, like kind of not even singing. She sounded like a bird tweeting. It's so weird. But I swear it was like in my soul that she was talking to. And I was like, the hell is happening? And then all of a sudden my body just starts moving like crazy and I can't stop it. And I was like, okay, I guess this is real. So if it's real, just go with it, Barbara. Like, chill out. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it happen. And like the craziest thing happened. And then I watched 20 other people do it. And so I was like, I got to find where I can like do this again. And so now I have a lady that I go to all the time and that's who I brought to the retreat. But I love bringing like, not ayahuasca to retreats, but maybe one day I'll do an ayahuasca retreat. But no, just like different healing modalities. I've done like sound healing, breath work, any kind of like body work, somatic work to retreats because like women and men too, but like the women that sign up for retreats, they all want connection, but like what's holding them back from connection is the fucking guard we all put up because we all have trauma. We all have like mother wounds or friend wounds or girl, someone that's like stabbed our back before. And so it's not that you want connection, you need healing. And
the connection happens through the healing.
And so I always bring like woo to it without telling anyone. Cause if I promoted like, hey, come to my retreat and do spinal energetics and crazy fire breath work, they'd be like, no.
No, I remember I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this is not real. And I had seen it on Goop, and then Kelsey did a demonstration. Shout out to Kelsey. And I was like, this is really weird. But
what did it
we're going to go
look
for
like
it.
when I was the demonstrator?
And I was like, okay, let's go for it. So I'm there, and like, there's part of it I could like kind of conceptualize as the music starts to play and she activates the energy in the room. And like, there is that like, when you're trying to fall asleep and your body just like
twitches,
jerks, right? So I'm like, I can get that, right? So I'm like, okay, the body's switching. Okay, great. It's releasing energy. She came over, she worked on like, again, the solar plexus, and it was like, ooh, that felt like a lot of pressure. And then all of a sudden it was like, and like whatever that energy like dissipated, and I just started crying. And I was like, okay, like I can still kind of understand that part. This is the part I was like, came over, she's working on my hips, and then all of a sudden my leg kicked, but I yelled. And I was like, that was not me yelling. Like I knew, like my voice came out, and I was like, ah! And I was like, I could get the physicalness of it, but it was like, no, I did not yell. And it was like that, oh my God, this is crazy. And now working with her, again, I'm so glad to have her now in my like repertoire of like, this is what we're doing as far as, the healing stuff. Cause that's what really creates the success. You got to get that shit out.
And it's easier than plant medicine.
It's way easier. It's not 12-hour trip. You know, it's like an hour you're in and done and you're like, oh, okay, go about my life. I mean, the thing about plant medicine is you get to really learn surrender because you don't have a choice. You just have to like, I want it to be over, but it's not over. And you get to surrender to what is and accept everything that's going on. And it's very forceful. All right. So where's your tax coach going over the next 5 years?
Oh, 5 years. That's a long time. I don't know. I have so many ideas and it changes all the time depending on my cycle. But this year, we're doubling the size for Minted Wealth Live. So that's our big live event every year.
Go ahead and tell people website, what it is so that they can go.
Yeah, mintedwealthlive.com. It's the only wealth event you need to attend this year. And so we just bring like all topics, financial and wealth and taxes, and we make it fun and sexy and like a fashion show and just like tons of networking. It's at the best, bougiest hotel in Arizona this year at Global Ambassador. So I'm very excited for that. So just like more live events, more in-person stuff, and just keep saving business owners money and taxes.
Yeah, we're going to do cool shit and we're going to get paid to do it.
Yeah, in cool places. So yeah, guys, go to Minted Wealth Live. I will be at the event as well. Tell people where they can find you on socials and stuff, how to follow you. Yeah, Instagram at Your Tax Coach or Barbara Schreihans. Obviously, Your Tax Coach is more tax heavy, and you'll get tax tips and tricks there. And then just more about my life and coaching and retreats and events at Barbara Schreihans. Thank you for coming today. Thanks for having me. Loved it. And guys, go ahead and follow Barbara. Go to Minted Wealth Live. I will be there. And then check out all of our stuff at notoriouswmn.com.